Couple of seconds. Hey y'all, this is me again, Heather. Earlier this afternoon we talked about Married at First Sight, and tonight I was going to come back and do Love and Marriage Huntsville because honestly, I hadn't done a review of this show in a minute, and I feel like I need to go ahead and do it while I'm thinking about it so that we can go ahead and get that done. I just want to say hello to my Instagram family as well. I am simulcasting on Instagram as well as Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to join the conversation, I will drop a link over on the YouTube page. So those of you who want to be a part of that conversation, that's where you'll find the link because I'm only going to post it in one place. And so why I wanted to talk about this, actually, I really wanted to make sure that I watched all 4 episodes because there was a whole thing about this season. They went on a cast trip to Vegas, and the whole thing was they were it was going to be 4 episodes, which For me, that's a lot to be, talking in one place, but I don't know what the purpose of having 4 episodes other than maybe that was where most of the drama occurred this season or whatever the case may be. I'm trying to find my glasses so I can go ahead and read my notes. But nevertheless, here we are. So the episode opens with Tiffany and Lewis. It's kind of like everybody's, kind of getting packed up and getting ready to leave Vegas. Just kind of giving an overview of the trip. Like, did you like it? Did you not like it? What's going on? A, B, C, and D, what could have been, improved and everything. So everybody has their own assessment of it. Tiffany's talking to Lewis and let him know that Destiny had kind of pulled her to the side to work things out because, Destiny had a conversation with Mel earlier talking about the disconnect that she and Tiffany seems to have, and it continually happens to the point where if they don't, and I'm just saying is if they don't get something together, then every time they meet up is going to be problematic. Now, let me just say this. When Destiny first came on the show, Destiny was a little bit on the problematic side because it seemed like she had an axe to grind with like Kimmy when it came to the chicken man. But also it seems like she dropped all that once the chicken man was no longer a part of the conversation. Seems like Destiny kind of mellowed out after a while. So that was interesting. But Destiny, now that Tiffany is on the scene, Tiffany came in like a bull in a china house and just kind of, doing what she do. Claiming it's transparency and that's how she operates. We call it messiness. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, it's a totally different ball game when you are dropping nuggets of people's business. Now, that was the difference between when Destiny came in and when Tiffany came in. Destiny came in with just one particular issue with Kimmy, I guess, and it really was just a misunderstanding. Whereas Tiffany has come in and she's continually bringing up people's business in a public forum in the name of friendship, saying that, hey, this is how we do things. This is how I do things. I'm just transparent. I just, so, but when you start talking about people's kids and when you are bringing up information, as they said, pillow talk, just because you and your husband discuss what goes on doesn't mean that you then take things back to the friend group that y'all discussed. Some things you just have to understand when it's an issue of your spouse has told you something that was told to them in a group of like friends. No one wants to know. I mean, and we at some point, that spouses kind of discuss things. And that's fine, but there is a point where you understand also as that listening spouse that your job is to leave the information at the pillow and not take it back to your friend group, because then at that point people have trust issues. And I tell the folks this a lot of times that, I don't care how married you are. And people always tell me we don't have secrets and everything. But when it comes to your friends confiding in you and things like that, those are the secrets that you should be keeping. If you're going to keep any secrets, don't go and break your friendships and then go run back and tell information, because a lot of times, one, you can say the information the wrong way, meaning that you didn't hear everything and that you're repeating it differently. And number two, there just should be some honor amongst friends. Just because you don't share things like that with your spouse doesn't mean you're keeping secrets from them. That means you're keeping the confidence of a friend. So I have a fundamental issue with this particular situation when, he came back and everything. I'm just kind of running back from some of the other episodes. So when they were confronted about, hey, let's keep this pillow talk to a minimum, instead of it being, hey, my bad, I shouldn't have done that, or I'll be more careful about what I share from the gentleman conversation with the wife, it then became a thing of, well, you shouldn't be keeping secrets from your wife. And so I feel like when Tiffany and Lewis come into a lot of these situations, they don't take accountability. They're more so talking about like, well, this is how we do things. Y'all gonna have to get with it. And I'm gonna tell you, that's gonna be a short-lived type of friendship right there. One thing about it for me is if my friends share something with me, it stops at me. I do not share. I don't believe in sharing other people's business, regardless of who you are. Because if you trust me enough to confide in me, then that's where it ends. The conversation does not go any further than that. Maybe I'm set up differently. Maybe it's just some things about me. But I don't like it when people do that and then also go back amongst an audience and tell your business. So I do have issues with that. Hopefully that's going to change. Maybe when they hash some things out, they'll change. I don't know. We're going to see. The other thing that so I'm trying to go back to my notes here. Other thing that I was noticing, Tisha and Kimmy go ahead and they kind of talk about, how things went, the vow renewal and everything. And really, Kimmy just came to offer her support to Tisha as far as, things not necessarily going the way that she wanted to plan it and everything, but also just saying, hey, I'm here for you. We kind of got to get together because, we married to them Scots. Now, let me say this. If being married to them Scots mean that you need a support group, I don't know what to tell you. If you need a support group for being married to the Scott brothers, maybe there are some deeper issues there, and they'll go into it a little bit later in the conversation. Also, I just felt like that was a little refreshing to kind of see them, wanting to kind of mend things again. It seems like this trip, even though it's explosive, seemed to be a healing situation for a lot of the other relationships outside of the romantic relationship for the 15-year anniversary. Then the three Mars, as I call them, Martel, Marceau, and Maurice, we're sitting down having breakfast, brunch, whatever, and they kind of talked about um those different things, those pressures of being providers for the family. They talked about the pressure, like really kind of identifying what depression actually looks like. Some of the things that were concerning for me is, um Marceau doesn't seem to understand that, he may be actually in the thick of um a depression. He wants to call a lot of other things, but depression is not going to be a word. And I think a lot of the reason is that, we don't like labels. As people of color, as Black people, we tend to think that once you start labeling things like that, then that makes you less than, or and I really wish that, people would just understand that's just kind of where we are sometimes. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with being depressed. I mean, it's just it's life. The thing about it is, what kind of coping skills do you have for it? And if you don't have coping skills on your own, there are trained professionals that can help you with that. And that's the thing. Like, people don't seem to think that is necessary, but it's absolutely necessary to get some trained professionals to help you with those things. It kind of just iron things out. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily crazy. Well, but you may need some help getting things together, reorganizing things. Maybe, you need to find some more work-life balance. Marceau said he would never sacrifice time for money again. And so he's just talking about hitting it hard. And I know a lot of folks, especially in the past year or so, have been trying to pivot because of COVID, because things just changed drastically in the past year or so. So I can see, you know, there are different levels of depressions that people have experienced. There are, you know, things that we are having to face now that we didn't have to face before. And one of the things is, having to understand where you are as far as mental, where your mental health is, where your emotional health is, all those types of things. So, you know, I want them to. I really hope that they can continue to have these type of conversations on the show, because I'm honestly kind of tired of the blow ups and everything. It's really getting old, because these people are grown. A lot of them are 40, and if they're not 40, they're getting very close to 40, and they got kids. So to see them like actually having conversation outside of the typical Melody and Martell blow up, I was very excited to see, a different side of this crew, because these are intelligent people. I consider them some intelligent people. These are people who are professionals, and um, they have nice careers and things like that, and they're trying to build and everything. And one of the things that I personally get tired of is drama in the way that brings groups of people like this down. So, I'm just kind of happy to see that we're talking about something other than the two divorced people on the show. Um, so Mel made a kind of a comment saying that the trip was a disaster, and everyone, and even though it was a disaster, it was well needed trip. I don't know if it was a disaster, but I can say that as far as I look at it, if it was, she contributed to some of that disaster happening, because I don't know. I just think sometimes you can choose to walk away from conversations, and I don't think a lot of times she or Martell chooses to walk away. I don't know if that's because of production, because the cameras are there to push them into more, drama, or if this is genuine, um not being able to control your reactions to everything. Again, if you're doing it for a check, it's time to let it go, because long-term effects of what it does to your children is what I'm more concerned about. Like, I love good TV like anybody else, but there comes a point where you really have to consider, is this conducive to the rest of your life? We've seen these housewives shows, and not even Atlanta or Potomac, but we've seen some of these shows where people are, their whole lives are being ripped apart from reality television. And I think that, you just have to think about those things. You have to decide whether or not, it's important enough for you. What is your legacy going to be? If your legacy going to be, hollering and screaming and everything with your ex, then, maybe it's just time to move on. Anyway, it seems like everybody's just ready to leave. Everybody's packing up and getting ready to go. And I really just kind of like they're closing the door on this trip. It's awesome. Um, Now Tiffany goes to visit Mel at her shop to talk about her request for interns, because Mel is like busy, 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 busy. I like to see busy, but I also, again, I don't know, y'all. I just feel something like, I don't know. It looks so rehearsed to me. Now Mel says she hadn't talked to Tiffany because her energy wasn't right, da 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 da, but we gotta take care of business. So here's the thing. Most of us are energy driven people. I am very much a person that don't deal with anything if the energy isn't right. But there are times when it's business that you have to push through those, I don't feel like the energy is right type of thing. And she said something about, she don't want to be in a place with Martell and everything. You knew this was a group trip. So you knew that Martell was going to be there because this is a trip from the show. So obviously he's going to be there. I don't know why we act like we're so surprised that people that are members of the cast are going on the cast trip. Like, come on, y'all. Really? Yeah. You said, well, what if they like the toxic? Well, see, that's the thing. I believe that a lot of the conversation that we're having about Melody and Martell is they feed off of this toxicity that they have between them. So they're going to, again, I don't know if it's the show or if it's just their dynamic. Not really sure. Kind of feel like it's a little of both. But if you feed off of toxicity for your relationship, then you need to do some deep diving to figure out, why do you need to feed off of toxicity instead of trying to figure out where you need to heal. So just don't know. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I think it's time for them to. I really do think it's time for them to move on past these blow ups and everything. They too old for that. Absolutely too old for that. Like, I feel like if it was my friend, I'd be like, when you just gonna stop feeding into this? Like, I'm not gonna pull you. I'm gonna let y'all fight, because I don't get in the middle of physical stuff. I just don't. If y'all want to get up in each other's face, get in each other's face. They strike me as the kind of people that like to blow up like that, and then they have like super angry, toxic sex, and then like the next day they do like the walk of shame, and they be like, "I don't even know you like that," and they try to avoid each other because you know they don't want nobody to know that they've been really doing all of the stuffs together. So I don't know. They make a lot of they make for good television, but I also think that they're doing a whole lot of weird things. A lot of weird things. The other thing that I want Mel to stop doing is apologizing for other people's behaviors and stuff. Because for me, again, that's one of those off-putting type of behaviors. Why are you apologizing for grown people's behaviors? She wanted to apologize to Tiffany for Destiny's behavior because Destiny says she would have dragged her across the room. Well, in that moment, we were waiting on Tiffany to get dragged because the way that she presents information is very much caustic. And so someone who's like, if you keep picking with somebody and you're finding a way to be argumentative, or you're just saying you taking these digs at people, you can rile somebody up to the point of them dragging you. So instead of her apologizing for Destiny's what Destiny said, the conversation should have been, maybe we need to choose our words more carefully. I want her to say things to Tiffany to where she is holding her just as accountable as she holds Destiny for her responses and reactions. And I've been seeing this. I don't know what's going on. I don't care, but they gotta stop. You say, is the walk of shame different for toxic sex? Yeah. No. 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 Let me think. I would say the walk of shame. Well, because think about it, people who have toxic relationships, and they have toxic sexual relationships, when they go back to being in their right mind, um, they want to avoid the other person. They want to act like it doesn't happen. So there's still a walk of shame. Maybe it's not necessarily a walk, but it's a look. It may be that you block that person's number until the next time. So I think it all goes within the same. um I think it's all the same. I do. I think it's all the same. um Martell and Lewis hang out with their boys. Martell brings Junior to come play baseball because I guess Lewis is some type of coach, or I don't really know what Lewis does, but he does something with the sports world. So he looks like he mentors young people. Honestly, I think that um, the young kid really needs to be around more male influence. Nothing wrong with being around your mom and your sisters, but I can imagine that he probably needs more so of an outlet with other people who share testosterone. It just helps a lot of times when you in a house, when the hormones are unbalanced. Sometimes you just do better, being around like-minded people. And I'm glad to see that he's taking him out to do some of that hanging out and everything. Um, so they're kind of talking about, the young boy needing a man, probably, you know, being trained, or like I said, I don't really know what Lewis does, so I'm just guessing here, training and everything. But then they go ahead and talk about what happened in Vegas and everything. And one of the things, now y'all know I ain't no fan of Lewis or Tiffany. Y'all I ain't changed my mind. That's all I'm saying. If y'all see this, Lewis, Tiffany, if y'all see this, y'all gonna have to talk to me as an individual and tell me that all of this is editing. But I don't know. I'm not a fan right now. I just think y'all messy. Um, but sometimes Lewis comes with some good nuggets of information, and then like he just go right back into the sunken place, and then I just be like, mm-mm. um, they talk about melody. And one of the things that Lewis did tell him is that you cannot control all the things that she does, and not every response requires a reaction. I thought that was good, because of the fact that most people function out of reactions and not responses. So just because she says things one way doesn't mean that you have to be volatile with your reactions. They are very, at this point, um, and I can't say it's just one, it's both of them. They kind of, they go back and forth a lot. They do a lot of they know how to get under each other's skin. There's definitely something that I've noticed about the two, and they love getting up on each other's skin, honey. They just want to go back and forth. And I feel like they get fuel from that. Um and then one of the things he asked Martell was, have you considered anger management? And Martell is like, well, I don't think I need it because I did better. All these kind of things is, I don't think he really sees it the way that everybody else is seeing it. Because if you have to, if you take it to a 10 or 15 every time there's a disagreement with your ex, then there are a lot of unresolved. First of all, as they say, love and hate are opposite emotions. So they are very much still operating like that. I'm gonna tell you, if somebody I'm done with, if I'm done with you, there is nothing you can say or do to me to get me to come and act like that. Because I'm done. I don't have any emotions left. I'd be like, okay then. You say whatever you want to say. You don't have to. And he keeps saying his concern is the songs with the kids, knowing the songs and everything. Now, I believe children need to have age appropriate music and things like that. So if you are exposing your children to especially these types of grown up type songs, maybe not do that. That's one of the things that you could easily do to stop having these type of arguments. Uh have your music as your outlet, but don't include your kids in the things that you do. So I don't agree with that. Then they talk a little bit about how Mel is so busy and he thinks he wants the kids full time. Lewis looking at him like, bruh, this really? Um, and he asked him, do you think it's best for the kids? How do you think she's going to respond? And make sure you have a very cool head when it comes to that conversation, because again, we've seen him blow up. They go from 0 to 100 real quick. Um, and so I don't know. It is so dicey. I don't know, y'all. Tisha, Maurice, Kimmy, and Marceau go and have dinner together. They talk about him talking about depression and everything. He says he's not going to do anything about it, even though he should be doing something about it. He says he just gonna use the wait and see approach. Just like if you hurt your knee, you wouldn't just go get surgery first. You go do some healing, and then you know and everybody's asking him, well, why don't you just go and see? And he said, well, I don't want to know if it's a problem I have to solve. So very much in avoidance, very much in denial about what's happening, what's going on with him. I don't really know. I think Marceau really could be suffering from a level of depression. I also think that Marceau isn't being forthcoming about everything that's going on with him. And I'm wondering why he has so much pressure on him. Um, it's one thing to run a business, but it feels to me as though he's not being completely honest about everything that he has going on. Then let's see. The one thing that I found interesting, he real quick to talk crazy to Tisha too. She says to him, well, let me know what I can do. And he said, you can listen more. And he just went on to Tisha gets her feelings hurt so quickly by Marceau, and he knows how to shut her up, which is really problematic because one of the things that I see about Tisha is she really wants to be affirmed in ways that he's not going to affirm her. And she is, I ain't gonna say she's okay with it, but she's learned to be okay with it. Um Kimmy suggests that he talk to someone. Um And she was like, well, he needs to talk to me. And Kimmy said, well, no, it could be that he's upset with his spouse, which is sometimes true. Your spouse can't be your therapist. Cannot. It just can't happen. That's not the role of a spouse. The spouse can be a sounding board, true, but sometimes there are things that you need to talk to a trained professional about, and it can't be your spouse sometimes. But Tisha, of course, feels shaded. There's a lot going on here. Um, again, he says he's been feeling disconnected. He doesn't feel like he has purpose. Maurice says, why don't we both grew up in the same environment. We were poor, and everything, and we may need to learn how to heal. Let's go to therapy together just to see what's going on. And Marcel was like, well, no, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna be able to do that. And I'm just wondering, why is he so against? I know the stigma of going to therapists and things like that, but I really feel like if everybody's telling you the same thing, you might want to listen. So that's how I see it. So Martell invites Mel out to discuss the kids. They talk about what happened in Vegas. Eh. And the thing that he says, we both know how to push each other's buttons, and she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you know what he's talking about. Quit playing. Y'all do know how to push each other's buttons. But anyway, they go down a list of, her being so busy, and she's got some of everybody watching the kids. And she said, I only have 2 people watching the kids. He said 3. Well, he said 4. And then they keep talking, and it was 3 different people watching the kids. And then they discuss, he's like, look, let me have the kids full time. Well, if I want the kids with me, blah, blah, blah. Look, let me tell you something. I know y'all in this thing and pretty much done that, divorced and all, but you ain't gotta ask me but one time, can you come get my kids? Because I have kids. I have I got more than 4. um I have 5 under 18. So if anybody wants to come get my kid, and I don't care who you are at this point, if you want to come get my kids, I'm gonna pack them up, because why not? That's the only thing I'm saying. That's why I feel like a lot of, so she's saying he's using this to control. Uh this is what I think. I think right now she makes more money than he does. And I think because she's the custodial parent, she doesn't have to pay child support. He just gets them on the weekend. She didn't file for child support and anything like that back when they were filing for divorce. I remember that. I think that 2 things. He really wants to spend time with his kids and doesn't really like a bunch of folk hands on his kids. That could be one thing. And that's valid. You don't want everybody handling your kids, especially when you got some small ones. But I also think if he gets to have full custody of them, if he has more time with them, that automatically means that she'll have to pay him child support. So I think there's a lot going on right here with this relationship. There's so many different things that could be going on right now. You never know. Of course she's upset. She's like, you ain't getting these kids, da 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 da, and they walk off, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. Yeah, when I say I'm tired of this, I feel like I am in this relationship. I'm tired. I don't want to hear anything else about Melody and Martell. Like, I would be good if both of them would take a break from about 3 episodes this season, because all we're hearing is this roundabout about, is who's cheated on who. Who cares at this point? Y'all not even married no more. I don't care who cheated. It don't matter. It doesn't matter at this point. The marriage is over. So whatever happened, happened. Whatever didn't happen, happened. Whoever hate each other, hate each other. Whoever love each other, love each other. Look, it's some kids here. It's, and all that stuff. All of these things could be true. The thing about it is both of them could be right and both of them could be wrong. And I don't understand why it's always this person did this. Martell was doing the most in his marriage. We get that. We don't care no more. We absolutely don't care no more. Y'all gonna raise these kids, or you gonna need a mediator. That's about where I am with this. Y'all gonna choose to raise them together, or you gonna need a mediator for this. And that's really all we really care about. I need them to get it together. I need them to get off social media. I need them to raise them kids. Wait till they're teenagers before they really get all into whatever, and then go on about their life. You know, I don't think that there's ever a time that the money is that good that you're willing to do all this stuff and say, well, this is for the sake of television, or whatever the case may be. I don't ever think, I just don't think, no, I wouldn't, I just wouldn't do it. I'm tired of them. Like I said, I want to see a good episode that doesn't have anything to do with their particular dynamic. I want to know more about everybody else and their struggles. Let's see Maurice laying, I mean, Marceau, well, Maurice too. Let's see them laying on somebody's couch and talking about and dissecting their childhood and really seeing what's going on. Let's really talk about if Kimmy gonna stay with Maurice, because sometimes Maurice be on that bullshit too. Let's talk about Tisha actually standing up and telling Marceau what she, really think about him, and him actually listening. And let's look at some things this way. This could be a great show if we didn't have this same drama. Like, y'all, it's the same drama every week. It's about the same thing. He cheated, she cheated. She dating all these people. He mad at her. She wrote a song. The kids listening to it. He trying to trample on her dreams because she want to make a video. Okay. That's not what I signed up for when I started watching this show. I thought I was actually going to see more about the construction business and how they doing all this stuff, how they come together as, three couples to kind of make shaking, movers and shakers in Huntsville. That's what I really thought we were looking at. I didn't know this was just going to be a iteration of like a housewife show. And so I watch it to support it, but I'm definitely more disappointed in the content of the show. And I just want to see them do better. Anyway, I ain't got nothing else because I ain't writing no more notes and I didn't make any graphics. So there's that. So anyway, thank you, Instagram people, for joining us this evening. Y'all came with the questions. I love it. Thank you guys on Facebook and on YouTube for watching. Definitely, if you have any questions, you can always drop them in the comments section. We will sometimes the crew is gonna my crew is busy, y'all. The review crew is busy as individuals, so we just kind of try to get it in here and there where we can. Again, we'll be reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville. We're gonna be doing Child Ready to Love. I don't know, I'm not really sure. I don't know if any of them Ready to Love. I'm sick of all them already. Just sneak peek tonight just made me sad. And then also we're continuing with Married at First Sight because that's the continuing saga we have all decided to just, hang on to, even though it is really it's pretty much torture at this point. So I'll see you guys again on the next review. The next review I'll be doing is Ready to Love, the sneak peek. I'm gonna have to go and pull some screenshots of those singles because, child, they a hot mess. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Y'all have a good night, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Okay, y'all enjoy your evening.